G'day comrade subscribers. So I've removed and cleaned up the keyboard connection. So I've got some ideas on how to redo that. And I've just noticed there's a couple of joints on here which aren't looking too good. So especially there's these capacitors here I think I might replace. Like this one particularly here. If you look at sorry, I need to. There we go. That doesn't. Guys, well, no, I'm too close. Sorry. This joint here is. It's not really soldered at all. You can see space around all of it. So that that capacitor is not really soldered in properly at all. I don't think so. It's probably a bit intermittent. I could practically probably pull it out without having to desolder it. But I'm going to replace them all anyway. I don't really trust them, to be honest. I might add a couple more decoupling capacitors, perhaps. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Okay, decoupling capacitors added pretty much everywhere. So I've got rid of these old ones. Because there was space, so you can see that actually that these two chips down here also have allowance for decoupling capacitors, but I've put them on pretty much all the RAM chips. This resistor's taking the hole that the decoupling capacitor would have gone in. Yeah, so I've removed that capacitor here. That was barely holding on. And so I've cleaned up the, I think maybe I did that before, cleaned up the keyboard connector, so I'll do something new there. What else? I did something else. Oh yeah, so I'm going to redo the crystal as well. So you see, Soviet crystals, they normally mount them horizontally, and one reason for that is that they've got quite fat legs. And of course, it's a 14 megahertz crystal, which you can't get anymore. They're obsolete. So what I've done is I've drilled out the holes a bit wider. So we're a bit small, so that they'll fit on a pin header. And so I was just going to put it on like that, and then mount it back in nicely there. Seems to fit quite nicely using Imperial. So I was going to put that back on there like that, so it's mounted a bit nicer. Of course, you can't put it on straight because you've got these, you've got the RGB traces going underneath it. So you don't want to short those out. So I'm going to do that next, and yeah, I don't know if that'll improve anything. Let's see. Okay, now I know the superstitious among you, and you know who I'm talking about, will think it's because of this magic green mat. Let me just start recording. Okay. And power on. Oh, ta-da! That's looking much better, isn't it? So all I've done is replace all the capacitors. Well, I've added more capacitors in, but I've replaced this one here. That was very close to where I was doing my little trick. So maybe this was the issue. This capacitor wasn't working properly. Down there, that one. So, whoops, that's pretty cool. That's the coolest. Oops, let me zoom out. That's the coolest boot screen on a Spectrum I've seen. Oh, I've spoken too soon. Yeah, obviously I need to connect the keyboard up, but yeah, I think we're making progress. Well, let's continue, shall we? Let's have a go at doing something on the keyboard. So I've pulled this keyboard apart here. So that's what we've got for the contacts. And that's what we've got for the LED. So it actually looks like it's just a clear little lamp, because I've got a little bit of red there to give it the red colour, which is interesting. Yeah, so think it's a 15, look, it looks like I've got 15 way here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 3 of these. Excuse me. 3 of these to give me 15. So I'll do that on there. Then some hot glue for some mechanical strength. So that should hopefully give me a bit of leeway as well. So I don't have the keyboard too, you know, I can move the keyboard out of the way sort of thing. But also, put these on the keyboard side. I'll probably just chop that off. So I've just got that there, just to make it nice and easy to connect and disconnect as required. That's the plan. So I'll get rid of those. This here, I think, that was for the speaker, I think. No. I think it was for the speaker. I think, yeah, sorry, I think this here was for the speaker. Anyway. And then this is the keypad. So I don't know what happened here. They had to have a separate one. But it looks like we've got copper or something on those, and then this is a carbon one. And then we've got reset up there, which is something completely different as well to these ones. So I could probably give those a little bit of a wash just to clean it up a bit. I could probably give... See, this has got some sort of plastic... I don't know if that was hot glue. Maybe it was hot glue that they used to hold the metal plate in. But yeah, I could, if I wanted to, I probably could... You know, let's get everything out. Doesn't matter. Get it all out. I'll give it a proper wash. I could probably break that off and then re-glue it in, but no, I think I'll leave it as it is. Just give it a bit of a wash. Don't know if I can get that off. Yeah, I'll go give it a bit of a clean. Whilst I figure this out. Okay, complete change of plan. Figured out, decided that the original keyboard is going to be pretty shit, even if I do get it all cleaned up and try to get the contacts more reliable. So I did think, okay, just do a Cherry MX keyboard and put it over the top, but obviously I want to keep this faceplate, so I've decided to do a tactile switch keyboard. Not my favourite, but with the holes here, I'll be able to fit tactile switches through them. So that's the original, and you can see it's pretty simple actually. You've got row, I think each row is connected to each other, isn't it? Yeah, I think the rows are connected across, and then they're pulled up to 5 volts. And then we've got on the back here the columns. Oh no, the columns are connected. Okay, so the inner columns, the outer columns are connected like that. So it's a pretty simple PCB to copy. Although, you know, it is ZX Spectrum, so I could have probably used an existing schematic, but I thought I'd just copy this, so make sure it is the same. And so that's what I've come up with: tactile switches, LED reset button, based on measurements on here. And one of the things I was going to do, because the board doesn't fit exactly, so you can see that, okay, the center screw hole matches, but then they had to drill holes here, and the board's not wide enough or deep enough to fit these screw holes up here. So I've made the board, so the new board, so it should fit that like that. Now it's just a matter of lining up the tactile switches. So you can see I was a little bit off. I think I measured it as 17 millimeters center to center. So that's what I've tried to do. But you can see the little tactile switch there. But by the time I get over here, I'm a little bit off. So I just need to adjust it. I think the rows are okay. I think it was 14 mil center to center. So I just obviously need to repeat. Just bring them in a little bit. Same with the reset button. You can see on the original, you know, for example, the reset button up here is in line. So everything's pretty much in line. So yeah, so that's the plan. I'll send this off to PCBWay once I've got the layout exact. And I've got some horizontal, although I haven't printed out the other side, pin headers, so I'll just connect wiring onto there and then just connect it onto the motherboard, I think, rather than trying to do this this tiny little soldering there. So yeah, so that's the plan with the Nafanya. So so that'll be a few weeks probably. So I'll come back to this in a few weeks, and in the meantime, all sorts of other things to get on with. Okay, hopefully that's interesting. Stay tuned. Bye for now.